Many people have been discussing the merits of gun control, and others are defending the right to bear arms. Let's take a look at history and see what it can teach us. Before Hitler took Germany off the deep end, one of the things he did was disarm the people. After all, after you have a disarmed population, you can control them. Stalin and Mao Zedong employed the same strategy. Why is it that people do not see a common theme here? The other night I heard Bill O'Reilly say that a rifle would not stop today's military. I guess he missed what happened in Vietnam, Somalia, and many other conflicts where we have withdrawn our troops over time. O'Reilly, you get a big fail, because you've obviously missed the fact that a bunch of farmers were able to defeat the British Army and start this country. And the British Army was the largest army in the world at the time. George Washington didn't let that stop him. Oh, I forgot. The Second Amendment was written before there were fully automatic weapons, so it's got to be outdated. Of course, the internet had not been invented by Al Gore yet, but we aren't trying to limit the freedom of speech through the internet, at least not yet. Let's look at some facts from this past year. The city of Chicago has roughly 2.7 million people, and in 2012, they had 513 homicides. The city of Chicago has some of the strictest gun control laws in the country. Compare Chicago with the city of Houston, Texas, which has a population somewhere around 2.1 million. Houston had 217 homicides in 2012. What's different about Houston? Well, with 500,000 Texans licensed to carry a firearm, and over 20,000 of those Texans being in the Houston area, I guess you can kind of see where that may be a deterrent to violent offenders. The Houston Police Department is certainly well trained and equipped, but they only have a little over 5,000 officers. Chicago has, get this, 12,000 plus police officers. You would think with that many police on the street, crime would go down, right? Okay, so a realist might say 12,000 officers in Chicago, 2.7 million people, that's roughly, one police officer for every 216 people? Can they really protect us? Or do they need us to kind of be able to take care of ourselves until they can get there? Time counts during an attack. Speaking of time, let's talk about response time. And when I say response time, I'm talking time from the start of an attack to the time a response is given to the attacker. Not how long it takes for police to get there. That's only one component. For all of you that say let the police handle it, that may sound good, but when you're totally defenseless, you may change your mind when you're stuck in the room with somebody who's shooting up the place. Why don't we stop teaching CPR and just leave it up to professionals? Oh, wait, the reason is that an amateur response is better than no response. Would you care to disagree with that? Folks, I have real-world experience, and I can tell you that the only thing that will bring an armed attack to an abrupt end is a well-placed shot. In some cases, just the show of force is enough to stop an attack. Yeah, some people need to be shot. There it is. It's out there. I would have been in support of someone taking a well-placed shot on the coward that shot up all the innocent children in Newtown. Let's look at the shooting in Portland, Oregon. Did you know that a 20-something-year-old man was there and confronted the gunman with a pistol? He chose not to fire due to the possibility of causing injury to someone else in a crowded mall. But the shooter saw the armed resistance and ran into a hallway and killed himself. I bet you didn't see that in the national news. But if you search locally in Portland, Oregon, you'll find the story. Why doesn't the national media report this? Well, that's the subject of another video. These attacks are carried out by cowards. Once they see there is someone who is going to take control, they run and hide. They're not there to fight. They're there to kill. The faster you bring a response to an attacker, the faster the attack will stop. These people are cowards. They're not looking to fight. They're looking to prey on unarmed, defenseless people. Let's not create a society of unarmed, defenseless people who are ripe for the killing. There will always be wolves in the world. It helps if we're not all made into sheep. The bottom line is that as Americans we have God-given rights. The right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The right to life is exactly what we are giving up by buying into this lie that the government will protect us. Each individual should have the right to defend themselves against crime and ultimately defend themselves against any oppression. So here's our daily dose of irony from the gun control argument. The Journal News, which serves a paper to Westchester and Rockland counties north of New York City, posted a map in the paper of all of the firearm permit holders in their counties. Well, somebody read this paper and said, gee, if you're going to do that to me, I'm going to put your address online for everybody else. Their response? They hired armed security. So they're for gun control, but they hired some private security folks, which, hey, by the way, they have firearms. I thought guns were the problem, but apparently now all of a sudden they're part of the solution. Interesting. Hypocrisy seems to have no boundaries with the gun control argument. Dianne Feinstein has a concealed carry weapon. Half of Hollywood made a video about, let's get a plan. Meanwhile, they make movies while they blow people up and shoot them and commit all kinds of horrible acts of violence. If you've never seen a Quentin Tarantino video, then, get Pulp Fiction. You'll see what I'm talking about. And yet, they're against violence? Really? Maybe they're only against violence when it comes to people having the ability to defend themselves. But when it pads their pocketbooks, they're cool. They'll do it. No problem. The Congressional Research Service estimates there's 310 million firearms in the United States. In 2011, the FBI reported that 8,583 firearms were used in homicides. That's 0.02%. Guns are tools. They're inanimate objects. They do not get up. They do not go commit crimes. People commit crimes. We already have laws on the books that say it's wrong to murder. We have laws on the books that say it's wrong to go into movie theaters and shoot people. We have laws on the books saying it's legal in Illinois to pick up roadkill. But at the end of the day, if we don't enforce the laws that we have and give law enforcement the tools to enforce the laws and actually keep people in jail when they offend, violence will continue. Murder was not invented with the invention of the firearm. This has been around a long time, folks. The discussion that we should be having is not about how are we going to punish the 99.998% of law-abiding gun owners in America. The discussion that we should be having is what are we going to do to provide avenues of help for the mentally ill, the insane, the people that are going to go off their rocker. Let me tell you, disarming the people and making them better victims is not going to do anything to help society. Let's not make everybody unarmed sheep. Let's look at the real problem. Let's give law enforcement actual real tools they can use. Let's give people avenues they can utilize. Maybe we can actually avoid this in the future. There's a thought.